Listen, relationships are not supposed to feel like you're begging for scraps of attention. They're not supposed to make you question your worth, lose your voice, or shrink yourself just to keep the peace. When someone is avoidant, they're not just busy or private. They build emotional walls so high, you spend years climbing just to get a peek. And here's the hard truth: if you stay, hoping they'll one day wake up and love you the way you deserve, you'll waste years of your life. So how do you know when it's time to stop climbing? Simple. Pay attention to what they say. Words aren't just sounds, they are a flashing neon sign of how they see you, the relationship, and their capacity for intimacy. Here are 7 phrases that should make you stop in your tracks. I'm just not ready for something serious. Translation: I don't want to commit to you, and I'm telling you now, you're too emotional. Translation: your needs are inconvenient for me. I don't like talking about feelings. Translation: I will never give you emotional closeness. Can we not label this? Translation: I want all the benefits without responsibility. You're overthinking it. Translation: I don't want to address your concerns. I'm bad at relationships. Translation: I'm excusing my lack of effort forever. I just need space. Every time you need closeness. Translation: I will withdraw when you get close. When you hear one, maybe it's a warning. When you hear several, it's your sign to walk away. Because love without availability isn't love, it's a slow drain on your self-esteem. Stop chasing people who run from connection. Stop negotiating for the bare minimum. The right person will never make you beg for the basics: consistency, clarity, and care. Your time is the most valuable thing you have. If they keep showing you they can't meet you halfway, don't keep walking toward them. Turn around and walk away, ASAP. Relationships should make you feel valued, not drained. They should lift you up, not weigh you down. They should make you feel safe, not like you're constantly walking on eggshells. When you're with the right person, you don't have to guess how they feel about you. You don't have to chase them for answers or beg for time together. You don't lie awake wondering if you're too much or if you've said the wrong thing. You're not stuck replaying conversations in your head, trying to decode hidden meanings. With the right person, communication flows. It's not a tug-of war for closeness or clarity. You feel seen, heard, and respected, not like your feelings are some kind of inconvenience. If you constantly feel like you're working harder to keep the relationship alive, that's not love. That's you carrying the whole thing on your back while the other person stands still. Love isn't supposed to feel like a full-time job with no breaks and no appreciation. It's not supposed to leave you feeling emotionally bankrupt. The truth is, people show you how they value you by how they treat you. If they make time for you only when it's convenient for them, that's not valuing you. If they dismiss your concerns, make jokes at your expense, or downplay your needs, that's not valuing you. If you have to shrink your personality, hide your emotions, or silence your voice just to keep the peace, that's not valuing you. It's draining you. It's chipping away at your self-worth. And here's the thing: the more you tolerate it, the more it becomes your normal. You start convincing yourself it's not that bad. You start thinking you just need to be more patient, less sensitive, more understanding. But love shouldn't demand that you erase yourself. You shouldn't have to tone down your joy, your passion, your needs just to fit into the tiny space they're willing to give you. You deserve to feel like you matter every single day, not just when it benefits them. You deserve to be with someone who notices the little things, who checks in, who shows up, who doesn't make you question whether they care. When you're in a relationship that makes you feel valued, you feel lighter. You feel like your presence matters. You feel confident enough to be fully yourself because you know you're accepted exactly as you are. And that's the kind of connection worth holding on to, not the one that drains you, not the one that leaves you second, guessing your worth, not the one where you give and give until there's nothing left. Because when love is real, it nourishes you, it doesn't deplete you. Avoidant partners often keep emotional distance as a pattern, not an accident. It's not just a bad day, a rough week, or a temporary mood. It's a way of relating to people that's deeply ingrained in how they operate. They've built walls so high around themselves that letting someone in feels unsafe to them. They might say they care about you, and maybe they even do, but their actions show something different. When you try to get closer, they pull away. When you open up emotionally, they shut down. When you ask for more time, more connection, more presence, they suddenly get too busy. It's not random. It's not because they're overwhelmed this week or distracted by work. It's because intimacy to them feels like pressure. They're used to keeping people at arm's length, and they've learned to survive that way. The pattern shows up in subtle ways at first. They might avoid serious conversations. They might joke when you try to be vulnerable. They might change the subject when you talk about feelings. Over time, you start noticing that the emotional gap between you isn't closing, it's widening. No matter how patient you are, no matter how understanding you try to be, they seem to retreat the moment you get close. And here's the truth: most people don't want to face it's not your fault. You didn't cause their distance. You can't love them into opening up. You can't explain enough, prove enough, or give enough to change a pattern they've been living with for years. Avoidant partners often see closeness as a threat to their independence. They feel safer controlling the amount of intimacy in the relationship, which means they decide when and how much they let you in. That control keeps them comfortable, but it leaves you constantly guessing. You might find yourself wondering if you did something wrong. You might start questioning if you're too needy, too demanding, or too much to handle. But this is how the pattern works: it shifts the blame onto you, so you'll stop asking for more. And the more you adapt to it, the more you teach them that this distance is acceptable. The cycle repeats. They pull away, you chase. They withdraw, you try harder. You end up investing more and more just to maintain the bare minimum. But this emotional distance isn't a phase, it's the foundation of how they relate. And until they decide to address it themselves, nothing you do will bridge that gap. Words are clear indicators of emotional availability. Listen carefully. People don't always show you who they are through big, dramatic actions. Sometimes the truth slips out in small, ordinary conversations, the way they answer your questions, the way they respond when you express your needs. The words they choose or avoid tell you exactly where they stand. When someone is emotionally available, their words feel open. They make you feel safe to share. They don't shy away from discussing feelings, plans, or commitment. They're not afraid to talk about the future. They're not afraid to acknowledge when something's wrong. But when someone is emotionally unavailable, their words sound different. They dodge serious topics. They change the subject when things get too personal. They use vague, non-committal phrases that keep you guessing. They tell you they're not ready or not sure or don't want to rush things, but somehow that uncertainty never changes. It's not that they don't know what they want. It's that they don't want to give you what you're asking for, and they don't want to say it outright. Pay attention when someone tells you in their own way that they can't meet you where you are. If they say they don't do feelings, believe them. If they say they don't like labels, believe them. If they say they're just not good at relationships, believe them. These aren't casual remarks. They are warnings. They're showing you their emotional limits in plain language. And too often, people hear these words and hope they're temporary. They think if I'm patient, they'll change. They think if I prove I'm worth it, they'll come around. But words like these usually don't signal a passing phase. They reveal the boundaries that person intends to keep. The right partner won't make you decode mixed messages. They won't give you just enough reassurance to keep you hanging on while avoiding real commitment. They'll speak with clarity. They'll say what they mean and mean what they say. And even when the conversation is hard, they'll show up for it. You don't have to read between the lines when someone truly wants to connect. Their words will match their actions. Their promises will turn into effort. And their language will make you feel secure, not confused. So listen closely, not just to what they say, but to what they repeat. Because the words they use most often are a direct reflection of the relationship they are offering you. I'm not ready for something serious means they don't want to commit. It might sound gentle, it might sound like they're protecting you from false hope, but at its core, it's a statement of boundaries, and those boundaries don't include building a future with you. When someone says they're not ready, it's tempting to believe it's just bad timing. You tell yourself they just need a little more space, a little more healing, a little more time to figure themselves out. You convince yourself that if you wait long enough, they'll eventually be ready and they'll choose you. But here's the truth most people don't want to admit. If they wanted to commit, they would. If they wanted to make you a permanent part of their life, they'd find a way. People make time for what they value. They prioritize what matters to them, and when someone says they're not ready for something serious, what they're really saying is, I don't want this with you right now, and maybe not ever. It's not about your worth. It's not about whether you're lovable or enough. It's about their choice, their capacity, and their willingness. The danger comes when you take this statement as an invitation to prove yourself. When you start trying harder, showing up more, giving more, just to convince them that you're worth committing to. Because every time you do that, you ignore the fact that they've already told you where they stand. And while you're busy hoping they'll change their mind, time is passing. Your energy is draining, your self-worth is slowly eroding. Sometimes people use "I'm not ready" as a cushion to soften the blow of saying, I don't see a future with you. It keeps you around without giving you what you need. It allows them to enjoy the connection without taking on the responsibility. It's a way to keep you in their life on their terms, not on equal terms. And if you stay hoping they'll get ready, you're agreeing to those terms. You're accepting a relationship with no clear direction, no stability, and no guarantee. Real commitment doesn't show up with hesitation. It's not about perfect timing, it's about the decision to show up anyway. The right person won't tell you they're not ready for something serious. They'll be ready because they value what they have with you. They'll want to build, not stall. They'll want to move forward, not stay in a holding pattern. When someone says they're not ready, believe them, because it's not a challenge for you to win, it's the truth about the limits of what they're offering. Dismissing your emotions is a sign of disrespect and incompatibility. When you share what you feel, you're offering someone a piece of your inner world. You're trusting them with your vulnerability. You're saying, this matters to me and I'm letting you in. So when they brush it off, make a joke, or change the subject, it's not harmless. It sends a clear message. Your feelings don't matter here. Sometimes it's subtle, a sigh when you bring up something important. A quick, you're overreacting, a casual, it's not a big deal, but each time it chips away at the foundation of trust. It teaches you that expressing yourself will only lead to being dismissed, and slowly you start to silence yourself. You stop bringing things up. You swallow the hurt, the frustration, the disappointment, because you've learned it won't be met with understanding. You tell yourself it's not worth the fight, but inside, resentment grows. Because deep down, you know your emotions are valid. You know that in a healthy relationship, your feelings would be met with curiosity, not criticism. Respect means listening even when it's uncomfortable. It means trying to understand, even if you don't fully agree. It means caring about what matters to the other person, simply because it matters to them. When someone dismisses your emotions repeatedly, it's more than bad communication, it's incompatibility. It shows they're not willing or able to hold space for your inner life, and without that, there can be no real intimacy. Love isn't just about laughter, attraction, or shared hobbies. It's about showing up for each other emotionally. It's about saying, I may not feel what you feel, but I care because you do. When that piece is missing, the relationship starts to feel lonely. You can be sitting right next to them and still feel unseen. You can share a life together but never feel truly known. And that's because emotional connection can't exist where feelings are dismissed. You deserve someone who listens without rolling their eyes. Someone who leans in instead of pulling away. Someone who doesn't try to convince you that you shouldn't feel the way you feel. Your emotions are not a flaw to be fixed, they're signals, guiding you toward what matters, what hurts, and what needs attention. When they're dismissed, it's not just disrespect toward your feelings, it's disrespect toward you. And that's not something love can survive. So if you find yourself with someone who constantly dismisses your emotions, take it as the message it is. They're telling you they can't or won't meet you where you are. You can keep explaining yourself, keep justifying why your feelings matter, but the right person won't need convincing. They'll already know. They'll lean in when you speak. They'll make space for your words, even when they don't fully understand them. Because love isn't just about being there for the good moments. It's about showing up when it's hard, when it's messy, when it's real. Anything less isn't respect. And without respect, there is no true connection. So stop fighting to be heard in places that choose not to listen. Your voice, your feelings, your heart, they deserve to be met with care. And the moment you stop settling for less, you create space for the person who will meet you there.